So today's topic is Pointing vector, power and Pointing vector. So what we know, that power is transmitted from source towards the receiver, right? So when the waves have been transmitted, the power in the form of EM waves are get transported from one point to another point. Okay, this transportation, or the waves which have been propagated on the medium, and the receiver which has been situated at a far distance, that receiver observe the power which has been coming from the source. So this energy or power is get transferred from one point to another point by means of EM waves. Okay, energy or power is get transported from one point to another point by means of EM waves. Okay, so foreign wave where it associated with electric field and magnetic field, how to find out how much power is get transported? One particular level of electric field, or you can say particular value of electric field intensities and magnetic field intensities. So how to get the expression for the power which is get transported? So that will be having the expression, or we can have the expression of the power. It should be derived from the Maxwell's equation. So we need to make use of Maxwell's equation. So power, if we have been going with circuit theory, the power is related with voltage and current. So same for this EM waves, the power is related with electric field and magnetic field. So we can think of voltage as an electric field, current as an magnetic field intensity. Okay. So we need to make use of Maxwell's equation. So what are the two Maxwell's equation? First one is del cross E. It is minus del B by del T. B is mu H. It is first. Second Maxwell's equation is del cross H. It is sigma E, that is conduction current, plus del D by del T, that is displacement current density. So these are the two Maxwell's equation we need to have for the derivation of the power which been having on a particular EM wave propagation. So next, in the next step, we going to take the dot product on the both side of this equation number 2 with E. Taking dot product on both sides of equation 2 with E. So that is E dot del cross H, that will be sigma E square plus E dot epsilon del E by del T, equation number 3. So using vector identity, that is del dot some other vectors, the cross product of other two vectors, that can be written as B dot del cross A minus A dot del cross B. So apply same thing. Here we can assume for our case A as H, B as E. So applying this identity in equation 3, we can write down as H dot del cross E plus del dot H cross E is equals to sigma E square plus E dot epsilon del E by del T. Now this thing can be modified as, we can know, means having the relation from the derivative that x dx can be written as half of dx square, right? 2 will come, then that will become x into dx. So same thing we can write here, that is sigma e square, that will become half epsilon, it will be e square. Equation number 4. Now again from equation number 1, if we take dot product with respect to h, taking dot product on both sides of equation 1 with h, it will be h dot del cross e, h dot minus mu del h by del t, which is equals to minus mu by 2 del t of h square. Same thing what we have written using the same expression for the derivative. So let us say this is equation number 5. So this value we are having here also, so we'll put this value in equation number 4, substituting equation 5 in equation 4, that is minus mu by 2 del t of h square, that is how we are writing as minus, because we going to take e cross h, rather h cross e. Here it is h cross e, we have written e cross e, that's why minus is there. So sigma remaining part as same, sigma e square half epsilon del t of e square. Now we are taking this one in the right side, and this part we have been taking out like this, that is del dot e cross h is equals to, if we have been taking this side, then we can write as minus del t half of epsilon e square plus half of mu h square minus sigma e square, taking volume integral in the both side. What we can write, volume integration del dot e cross h dv minus del t of volume integral half epsilon e square plus half mu h square dv minus volume integral sigma e square dv. Equation number 6. Sorry, okay. Next, here it is volume integration, right? It is divergence of E cross H. So we can apply divergence theorem. Applying divergence theorem, we can write down this one as closed surface integral, since it is volume integral. So closed surface integral E cross H ds is equals to del t, it will remain same, volume integral half epsilon e square of mu h square dv volume integral sigma e square dv. 7. So what is this? It is closed surface integral of E cross H. This part, it is called the total power leaving that volume. Total power leaving the volume. This part, it is having time derivative. So it is rate, time rate. So it is known as rate of, since minus is there, rate of decrease in energy stored in E and H field minus, this is known as ohmic power dissipated, power dissipation. So this equation number 7, it is known as Poynting theorem. Poynting theorem. So what does it mean? This part, it says total power leaving the volume. So power, that is E cross H, total power leaving the volume. So if on particular closed surface we are having the EM waves, which is the combination of electric field and magnetic field, so the power, the EM waves which are leaving that volume, it will give you the indication of rate of decrease of energy stored in electric field and magnetic field inside that closed surface. Rate of decrease of energy stored. So total power which is been leaving that closed surface, it is equals to the rate of decrease of energy stored, the rate at which the energy is get stored in E and H field, and ohmic power losses. So inside that closed surface, if some medium exists where it is having certain conducting property, that is sigma, so on that conducting, due to that conducting property, electric field will have the effect on that medium, that is as ohmic power. Some power is get dissipated on that medium. So you are having a source inside a closed surface. The source, it has been the source for the EM wave. Some electromagnetic waves is get generated from the source which has been kept inside a closed surface. So outside of that closed surface, that is how much EM waves is been coming out the surface, that will be is equals to the rate of decrease of energy stored in electric field and magnetic field intensity. The power which has been observed outside that closed surface, it will be is equals to the rate at the energy stored. So inside that closed surface, the source, on that source, the rate of decrease of electric field and magnetic field on that source minus the ohmic power, the power which is dissipated on the medium inside that closed surface. So if the medium is having certain conducting property, so on that medium some power is get lost. So total power which supposed to be observed outside the closed surface, it will be the difference of these two. It will be the difference of these two. So this equation number 7, it is known as Poynting theorem. So what it says, what is E cross H? The quantity E cross H is known as Poynting vector, denoted by P. It having the unit watt per meter square. That is P is equals to E cross H, watt per meter square. So what it says, this Poynting theorem states that the net power flowing out of a given volume V is equal to the time rate of decrease in the energy stored within V, that volume V, minus the ohmic loss. That is what the statement for the Poynting theorem. So obviously, as we see earlier for the electromagnetic wave, that P is always, because P is the power flow, P direction of P, it is always normal to the electric field and magnetic field, right? This P vector, it is a vector. P vector is normal to the both E and H, which is along the direction of wave propagation, which is along the direction of wave propagation. That is, if the wave propagation direction is along AK, so what we can write, AK is AE cross AH, what we said earlier for the wave propagation. So if our E is having the expression, let us consider it is propagating in Z direction, it is having the time variation as well, E naught minus alpha Z cos omega t AX H Z comma t omega t beta Z minus theta eta Ey. So the direction of, or the expression of P, it is the cross product of E cross H. So it will be E naught square by eta e to the power minus twice alpha Z cos omega t minus beta Z cos omega t beta Z minus theta along Z. We can simplify this one as twice eta alpha Z theta eta cos of t twice beta Z minus theta eta is question number 8. So it is the instantaneous value for a particular time instant. So what will be the average? Average will be over the period. So time average Poynting vector P average Z, which is which can be obtained by integrating over the period t is equals to twice pi by omega, that is P average Z over a period. We need to take the average of this 0 to t instantaneous value, right? So this average value can be found out as half of real of, we are taking the phasor form, cross HS conjugate. So if we use rather than this one, if we use this E or Z in this, let us give some other equation. It is, let us put 10, it is equation number 9. So if we put equation number, we need to give some equation, right? Equation number 8 if we put here, substituting equation 8 in equation 9, will have the average value as, we need to do the integration with respect to t, right? So this part will be cancelled. We'll have, I'm just skipping the intermediate steps. You just do this integration, twice theta e to the power minus twice alpha z cos of theta eta is z, equation number 11. So this is the average power within the time period t is equals to 2s pi by omega. So if we are having the source inside a given surface which having certain surface area, then we can find out the time average power which is crossing a given surface. Time, it is the time average power. Now we have been finding time average power crossing a given surface S. It is average watt per meter square, right? Now within the given surface, that will be watts, is in watts, that is P average is equals to surface integration P average Z dot ds. These are the different expression of the Poynting vector. This is the time average within a given period of time. This is the average power for the surface where the source is kept. So within the given surface of that closed surface, how much power has been crossing that closed surface. That is what it is having the expression. Any doubt on this? Anyone having any doubt? So based on this, let us solve a problem that will give you more clarity on this topic. In a non-magnetic medium, E is given as 4 sine twice pi into 10 to the power 7 t minus 0.8 x az volt per meter. Find, first point, epsilon r eta. Second point, the time average power carried by the wave. Third point, the total power crossing 100 centimeter square of the plane 2x plus y is equals to 5. This is the electric field in a non-magnetic medium. So we need to find out the permittivity for this non-magnetic medium is mu naught. We are having epsilon r for that medium. We need to find out time average power carried by the wave, time average, this value we need to find out. Then we need to find out the power which has been crossing the 100 centimeter square area of this plane. So first of all, we need to go with the medium properties. So in a non-magnetic medium, so from the expression E is given as, in non-magnetic medium, E is given as 4 sine twice pi into 10 to the power 70 0.8 x Az volt per meter. So what are the different informations we can find out? What are the informations about this medium? First of all, it is a non-magnetic medium, right? What are the different information? It is E sine. So anything else we have been missing here? Alpha z is missing, right? E to the power minus alpha z is missing. So we can consider this one as 1. So alpha is 0, right? Alpha is 0, right? So we can say medium is not at all a free space, but it is a lossless medium, right? Because it is a non-magnetic medium. So we can say, therefore, the medium is not free space, but a lossless medium. Why lossless? Because alpha is 0. How we have been taken alpha 0? Because e to the minus alpha z, it is absent, right? Other question, omega, it is given twice pi into 10 to the power 7. Then beta is given, it is 0.8. For a non-magnetic medium, for non-magnetic medium, mu is equals to mu naught, epsilon equals to epsilon naught, epsilon r. We need to find out epsilon r. So for a lossless medium, when alpha is 0, what is the expression for beta? For lossless medium, what is phase shift constant? Beta is omega root over mu epsilon. So this one is omega mu naught epsilon r. So this one will be C, that is omega by C root over epsilon r. How I have written C? C is, since C is 1 by root over mu naught epsilon naught, says the speed of light. So we can easily find out epsilon r. Root epsilon r is beta into C by omega. Beta is 0.8, C is into 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Then omega is twice pi into 10 to the power 7. It is coming out as 12 by pi. Therefore epsilon r is 40.59. Next, we need to find the intrinsic impedance. Intrinsic impedance is mu by epsilon. So it will be mu naught by epsilon naught into epsilon r. So mu naught root of mu naught epsilon naught is the free space intrinsic impedance, which is 120 pi by root over epsilon r. So root over epsilon r is pi by 12. So 120, sorry, 12 by pi. So 120 pi into, that will become, pi will go in the numerator, this will be 12. So it is 10 pi square, which is 98.7. Fine. Next, time average power. It is the first point. Time average power, that is P. First of all, we need to find out this Poynting vector. P is E cross H. E cross H. So E is given. H is same thing by eta, right? So we can write E is given as sine. So what will H? H is same E by eta, right? So we can write this one as, I'm just writing in terms of omega t minus beta x, right? So just tell me, it is having the wave is been propagating along z, right? E is x. So what will be the direction of h? Just find out. So we can have this one is e square by eta sine square. Both of them are x. It is this, sorry, wave is propagating along x. This is having the z component. E is having the z component. Wave is been propagating along x. So sine square. Why I have written sine square? Because h is e by eta. This one, h is same thing by eta. So here there is no angle with this eta. Eta is having purely real value, right? So there is no change or there is no phase difference between E and H. We can directly write like this. So sine, same thing will remain same. It will be omega t. I am just writing the generalized expression minus beta x, which is along the x direction. Wave has been propagating along x, right? So this is our pointing vector. So we need to find out the average value, time average, P average. This one, z is 1 by t integration 0 to t. This pointing vector P z comma t instantaneous value dt. So if we go with this integration, from this we'll have only e square. You just do this background work twice eta along ax. So this one will coming out as 81 ax milliwatt per meter square. This is what our time average pointing vector or time average power carried by the wave. Third point, we need to find out the total power which is in the 100 centimeter of this plane. So for this, how we can find out the 100 centimeter square of this plane? We need to find out the normal vector of this plane, and on this we are available with only the 100 centimeter square. So on the plane 2x plus y is equal to 5. The unit normal vector is twice ax plus ay by root 5. So the total power, therefore the total power crossing the 100 centimeter square of the given plane, that is P average, is within the surface average z dot ds, right? So we can write down this one as surface integration ds means s into this normal vector, surface integral ds. So we can write down this one as average z dot s into an, unit normal with that surface, that will be our surface integration. So we'll simply put this value and this dot product. So we are having this value as 81 milli, the direction is ax, having 100 centimeter square, we need to convert into meter, that is 10 to the power minus 4. An is this value twice ax plus ay by root 5. So this one coming out as 162 into 10 to the power minus 5 by root 5. We need to take only the x component along the direction of wave propagation, how much area is available for this plane, which covers 100 centimeters of area. So this one will be ax dot ax is 1, ax dot ay dot 0 is equals to 0. So we are having only 724.5 microwatt of power. Understand? You just do the background work, the integration, all those things you just do. We just seen what are the procedures, how we can find out the values for this. Clear? Yes. Because we are having this kind of medium property, we are having, depending upon the medium property, that is what our intrinsic impedance is. The medium itself is lossless. When we have seen the phase difference is there, when the medium is lossy, alpha is there, some non-zero value of alpha is there for the lossy medium. So here the medium itself is lossless, alpha is 0. So same, mu naught, it is the non-magnetic medium due to which the medium is lossless, alpha is completely 0. So there is no phase difference. Whenever the value is there, whenever the, it is completely decided by the medium, conducting property, all those things will decide you the phase relation between the electric field and magnetic field. Fine. Okay, one thing I have to check, how much syllabus you are having. This signals. Okay, we are having module 1, we have a Poynting theorem we have completed, EM waves in vacuum, plane waves, wave polarization, group velocity. Okay, normal and oblique incidence of plane waves at conducting boundary, dielectric boundary we are having. Okay, we need to go with this. Our next topic is reflection of plane waves. So already most probably you are having the idea that there are two kinds of incidence of the waves. That is, one is normal incidence, one is oblique incidence. Okay. So first of all, we'll go with normal incidence. Reflection of a plane wave at normal incidence. So till now, what we have studied, that our waves have been propagating in a medium, right? So basically that medium is unbounded, means while the wave is been propagating in any direction x, y, z, whatever it is, there is no boundary to meet at any point. It is completely unbounded. Any direction it can move. It is in unbounded medium, homogeneous and isotropic medium. Means the medium properties are not at all changing throughout the traveling path of the waves. Throughout the medium, it is having the same property. Now, when a plane wave, when it has been moving from one medium and it is supposed to go to separate other medium from one medium to another medium where the medium properties is fully different, then the medium property, due to the change in the medium properties, some waves will get in the second medium and some waves will be reflected in the same medium. We can say partly reflected and partly transmitted. So if the waves, while it has been propagating in a certain particular medium, previously till now we have been found that the medium properties is not at all changing, it is an homogeneous medium and there is no obstruction. There is no obstruction. Now when in the second case, when the medium properties is changing after certain traveling of the EM waves, the waves which have been propagating after that disturbance or this difference in the medium property, we will find that a portion of the waves will still in traveling, means they will get propagated from this medium 1 to the medium 2 and some portion of that waves will be reflected. So depending upon that, how these waves are been get obstructed by the separate medium, depending upon that we'll find how much there is reflection, how much there is transmission. So this portion of this incident wave that is reflected and as well as the transmitted, it is depending upon the parameters of the medium which are involved. Medium properties or the medium parameters are permittivity, permeability and conductivity. So depending upon these parameters, how much is get reflected, how much is get transmitted, we need to find out. Now let us take a situation. Let a plane wave propagating along the plus z direction is incident normally on the boundary which is at z is equals to 0 between medium 1. The boundary is between the medium 1, that is medium 1 is at z less than 0, characterized by sigma 1, epsilon 1 and u1, and medium 2, that is z greater than 0, characterized by sigma 2, epsilon 2 and mu 2. Okay, so if we draw this thing, it is z, let us consider it is x. Okay, so let us consider this. What do you know about this? If dot is there, is it inside the page or out of this page? I hope if it is dot, then it is outside. So let us take that one. The y-axis is out of this page, is y. So if we are having certain incident of the wave is been propagating along z. This is the direction of wave propagation. This is our magnetic field, incident magnetic field. This is our incident electric field, then this is our medium 1, this is our medium 2. So when it is incident on a boundary which is at z is equals to 0, we are having the portion which is still propagating, that is transmitted part, HT, ET, as well as will have the reflected part of this incident wave. Now for this reflected wave, only the magnetic field will change its direction. It is reflected, HR. It is our direction of new direction of wave propagation. It is ER. So previously, if magnetic field is outside the page, now when it got reflected, the magnetic field will now directed, like let us consider it is inside the page. So this is our incident wave. This is our reflected wave. Sorry, this is our transmitted wave. And this is our reflected wave. Now let us categorize these things. Let us go with incident wave first. EIHI is traveling along plus AZ in medium 1. So if we suppress the time factor, that is e to the power j omega t, we are having the phasor form. We can write down in phasor form incident part EIS Z is equals to EI0 e to the power gamma 1 and the medium 1 Z, it is along AX. Then magnetic field H I naught 0, magnetic field will be in the other direction, that is let us consider it is gamma 1 Z AY XY. So we can write down this one as electric field also eta 1, intrinsic impedance in medium 1, it or Z AY. Next, if we go with the reflected wave, these are the reflected wave is traveling along minus AZ. This wave, reflected wave, is been traveling along minus AZ in medium 1. So what we can write about this? Sorry, if it is traveling along plus Z, then that will be minus. This one will be minus. This one will be minus. So when it is traveling along minus Z, then it will be plus. That is ER naught e to the power gamma 1 Z. It will be in the medium 1 AX, and magnetic field, it is Z e to the power gamma 1 Z. Now the direction of magnetic field will be opposite, minus of AY. It is minus ER naught eta 1 gamma 1 Z AY. Next, we need to go with the transmitted wave. So So transmitted wave is in the same direction of the incident wave. Is traveling along plus az but in medium 2, that is a to the power minus gamma 2z ax gamma 2z ay eta 2 fine. I'm just extending for 5 to 10 minutes more. Now the total field in medium 1, it is the incident and reflected. The total field in medium 2, it is only the transmitted, right? Total field in medium 1, it is equals to incident plus reflected, that is E1. If we go with electric field, EI plus ER, same H1, it is HI plus HR. Total field in medium 2, it is only transmitted, that is E2 is ET and H2 is HT only. Now if we think at the interface at z equals to 0, we must need to have the satisfaction of the boundary conditions. If you have been thinking about the boundary conditions, if you can, so here the boundary conditions will be with respect to the dielectric boundary condition, because this is medium 1, it is one dielectric, this is medium 2, it is another dielectric. So at the interface, the transmission and incident will be satisfied by the boundary conditions only. The boundary conditions must need to be maintained. So what we know, at the boundary conditions, if you have been going with dielectric to dielectric boundary conditions, the tangential component of electric field and magnetic field must be continuous. Why I have taken tangential component of magnetic field also? Because the interface is considered as an charge free. Okay, the interface is considered as charge free. At the interface, z equals to 0, the boundary conditions require that the tangential component of E and H fields must be continuous, since the waves are transverse wave. The field components are in orthogonal direction to the direction of wave propagation. Transverse, E and H are entirely tangential to the interface. Hence, at z equals to 0, we can write E1 10 is equals to E2 10 and H110 is equals to H210, tangential component of electric field and magnetic field. So E1 tangential, it will be from incident as well as from the reflected. E2 tangential, it is only for the transmitted, right? So we can write in the medium 1 at z equals to 0, that is E incident at z equals to 0 plus ER at z equals to 0, it is E10 transmitted at z equals to 0. So at z equals to 0, we are having the amplitude, right? At z equals to 0, we are having the maximum amplitude ET0, HT0, ER0, HR0, EI0 and HI0 at z equals to 0. So what we can write? It is as EI0 plus ER0 ET0. Let us take equation 1. Same for the magnetic field. If we write with respect to electric field here also, so this one in the medium 1 by eta 1 EI0. What will be the reflected? Reflected is minus of this one, right? Minus. So we need to put minus ER0 is equals to ET0 by eta 2, which is in medium 2. So from equation 1 and 2, 1 and 2, we can find out reflected. We can find out this reflected because if we take the ratio between these two, transmitted part will get cancelled, or we can take out any one of them. Either we take the ratio or we solve, we can find out. So if we have been going with the solution, we can find out this reflected part at z equals to 0. It is eta 2 minus eta 1 by eta 2 plus eta 1 into EI0. And if you go with this solution for this transmitted part, it will be coming out as eta 2 plus eta 1 twice eta 2 EI0. So if you take the ratio of reflected by incident, that is known as reflection coefficient. Reflection coefficient, that is gamma, it is reflected by incident, which is eta 2 minus eta 1 by eta 2 plus 1. This is reflection coefficient. Since transmission coefficient is, that is given by tau, it is incident, sorry, transmitted by incident. What is happening with the people? That is twice eta 2 plus eta 1. This is the expression. We can find out this one as reflection coefficient into EI naught, transmitted is transmission coefficient into EI. Right? Now from here, if you take a note, we can take an observation that if we take 1 plus reflection coefficient, that will give us transmission coefficient. First point. Second point is both tau and gamma are dimensionless, and it may be complex. Third point, the range of gamma is between 0 to 1. Okay. After this, next we'll take out different conditions for the different medium.